How are you?
Very well. How are you?
I'm good. I got distracted last night by the majesty that was the 2001 game in Thurles between Kerry and Dublin. I don't know why I flicked over in the middle of the Liverpool game was brilliant, right? But I did. Might have been half time, and I sat there watching it and I was like, wow, this is amazing. It's like just a little bit of sun-drenched glory.
And it's not sepia tinted. It was good football, was it?
Yeah, genuinely good football. Yeah, like free flowing. There's no. The quality of the defence isn't great, you would have to say. I mean, I think everybody could agree that. Some score taken in the first half, not great. There was a brilliant run by Colin Moran where he dribbles past three players, plays a 1-2 with Desi Farrell, and instead of just catching the ball and kicking it into the empty net, tries this sensational Dermot Connolly-style volley, and it past the open goal. And the commentator is Ger and Eoin, and he literally says, "Ooh, I pity him." It's like, uh-oh. When the commentator is pitying you for something in the middle of a big game like that, it's like, oh God, poor Colin Moran.
A moment of menace for Colin Moran, I'm sure is how it was described.
Cut to Bertie in the, and that's him, that's a picture of Bertie there. And it's early in the game, so it's 1-4 to 2 points, we can see the score. Bertie sitting beside his daughter, the author, who's probably more famous than he is at this point, who's definitely world more famous. But, there's no reaction from him. There's no, F that. And then Ger and Eoin goes, "I hope Bertie Ahern won some money at the Galway races." Well, Ger, it turns out there was plenty of money in that tent.
Oh, my God. It's we kind of underappreciate what life might have been like if Dublin were successful during the Bertie era, or if Bertie was successful during the Dublin success era. That this kind of raging bull of a celebration sort of routine is what I would have expected from Bertie Ahern, but we never got to see it. It always felt that he was just a bit of dynamite waiting to go off as soon as Dublin finally won the All-Ireland. And it's a shame, really, that we never got to see that in full flow. I'm sure it happened somewhere, but the camera just doesn't pan to him anymore. It pans to Leo or to Enda in previous occasions, just kind of politely clapping. But it was a bad omen, really, actually, wasn't it, for quite a while, the Taoiseach?
Yeah.
If we could go back through all
karmic retribution, I believe they call it. Offaly Hurling is still suffering for inflicting Brian Cowan on the country. That's what they did. It wasn't the lack of underage structures or the fact that their golden generation didn't go on and become great coaches. It was that they gave us Brian Cowan.
I'm surprised Dignan or Dahi Regan haven't actually made that point on Twitter yet. I'm sure it's just such an obvious point, which is why they actually haven't taken to social media to point that out. The 2001 game, I must actually go back and watch it. Did you get to the Maurice Fitz equaliser, or had you gone back to Liverpool at that point?
I went back. I'd recorded it, so then I went through the air schedule and started recording loads of them. Lots of Kerry defeats. I guess they're good games when Kerry get beaten.
Kerry are a mortal county.
That's the definition of it being, we need that little bit of something between the teams. Preferably the favourites getting overturned.
Yeah, regularly. And the sort of, on any given day, anybody can win. Whereas now it's like, that's not actually the case.
No, it's true. Best supporting actor, the Kerry football team in all other counties' greatest triumphs. It's a very important role you guys have.
Well, some of the best supporting actor roles have actually been better than the best actor roles quite often when it comes to the Academy Awards. So I'm not taking that away from any supporting acts.
We have a great show coming up for you today, and get to that in a minute. I'll tell you now. So Shane Williams is going to join us around about 9:05. We'll go over to Cheltenham to talk to John Duggan about 8:45. We have our own Cheltenham guide starting with Owen in about 5 minutes' time. That's the poll of polls. That's the tips of tipsters. We need a sexy name for that. We're going to talk to Johnny Ward a little bit later on as well. And the shot clock with Kieran Donaghy is coming your way at 8:10. Brian Cooper is our very special guest. I didn't realise that Brian Cooper and Kieran Donaghy both went to the same school. They're both Tralee men. And I was thinking about it afterwards. Tralee's pretty high achieving in terms of sport. Apart from the fact that it's festooned with Gaelic footballers, it's also a heartland of Irish basketball, and it has really talented jockeys.
Yeah, not bad for a complete dump. That's a joke. That's a complete joke. Obviously, I love Tralee. Great atmosphere for a game.
I hate Tralee. It's mad.
I don't hate Tralee.
You're like, it's Shelbyville.
It's remarkable how kind of the rugged north of the county does produce all these people. It is, and it's the array of talent that they produce as well. If you include Listowel in that, if you kind of draw a little circle as well out to West Kerry, from racing to Gaelic football to basketball. It's a pretty talented area. You would like to think as well, you'd like to know what they would have all been like as golfers, considering most of them become so obsessed with golf after they finish playing football or whatever it may be.
Just get them into it a little bit earlier and they could be world class.
Who knows what they would have been, yeah. No, that's obviously a joke, just to clarify that. It was just too easy an open goal.
Yeah.
Because I thought you were going to say that. I thought, where's the sly dig here, Ger? Because every time you say something nice about us, you always just follow it up with a backhanded compliment. So I just said I'd finish it off for you.
I've decided I love Tralee because you hate it so much. The beef is real. It's coming your way at 8:10 this morning. It turns out that Sean O'Brien may actually be getting into the team for Ireland. That's the latest gossip on the back of the newspapers this morning. Earlier in the week, it looked like Dan Levy was going to be in the Ireland team. Now it looks like Sean O'Brien is going to be in the Ireland team. And it's helpfully pointed out in the newspapers this morning that this is the first time that Sean O'Brien and Warren Gatland have crossed paths since the Lions tour. You may remember the Lions tour where Sean O'Brien played really well, scored one of the best tries of his career, one of the best Lions tries ever, and subsequently had some critical words to say about Warren Gatland. Warren Gatland joined us at a roadshow the following Christmas, and well, he gave out stink. He was pissed off. That beef is real, it turns out. And we'll bring you that details of those clips a little bit later on. Let's go to the papers first, though. This is where we get to talk about Liverpool because they were absolutely sensational last night. This is also the bit where you see how hard Owen is working today, that we haven't even divided up the newspapers the way we normally do. He's only looking at Cheltenham this week. How did you get on yesterday?
Good day yesterday. Yeah, I think most people had a good day yesterday. I think the bookies got torn to shreds yesterday after tearing the public to shreds the day before. So I want to say 1-1 going into day 3. I always tend to find, I'm not sure, does the enthusiasm wane and therefore the attention wanes come day 3? But I always find Thursday kind of brings back some grim memories over previous years.
You lose on a Thursday?
Yeah, I tend to. I'm not sure if that's the case for everybody out there, but Tuesday and Wednesday it seems that, months and months of research have gone into it and you're kind of high on life that Cheltenham is finally here, and you maybe put in that extra bit of effort, or you send an extra couple of text messages to find that extra tip.
There's too many tips.
There's too many tips, certainly.
Too much information, too many tips.
There was a lot of tips yesterday, but a lot of them came through.
I had 2 horses in the same race finish and win and finish third. Otherwise, I would have been completely screwed. I didn't get on any of the early winners that the whole rest of the office was on. That's one of the best experiences in life, watching everybody around you win. And you're like, not actually on any of these horses. What's going on here? Masterclass in Munich. It's Virgil van Dijk, airborne, having scored the decisive goal, the 3-1 win. He scores the second. He is now officially the best defender in the world. He's added goals to the already amazing defensive qualities he's had. It is now not up for debate anymore. Van Dijk has been the best signing that Liverpool have made in a long time. And he's worth about 5 times what they paid for him.
Of course it's up for debate. Like, you can't just say he's
the best defender in the world?
Undisputed best defender in the world.
Give me 5 defenders who are in the conversation.
Sergio Ramos. Well, all you need is 1 to have a debate about it. You don't need 5 people to have a debate about
Sergio Ramos today.
I think it's still a conversation.
Who's the best defender today?
I think it's still a conversation.
Sergio Ramos today.
Yeah.
How are Real Madrid doing this season?
But how did they get on 10 months ago when they come up against Liverpool in the Champions League final?
That's not today.
I know it's not today.
He's too busy becoming a.
But how did they get on against Ajax? They lost. Who were they missing? Sergio Ramos.
Byrne set for Ireland start is the headline on the rugby bit here. So it looks like Ty Byrne is set to become the 35th player used by Joe Schmidt in the 2019 Six Nations. This is because there was a bit of an injury to Henderson, and he was tempted to play the former Scarlets player against France last weekend, only for Byrne to say he had some soreness in training, so we'll see. And Tony McCoy has launched an attack on one of the most powerful racing officials in the UK, suggesting that because Brant Dunshay is Australian, he's unsuitable to make judgments on jump racing. I think that's not necessarily just the framing of the conversation. We'll get into that a little bit later on. We'll try and get the lowdown on that from Johnny Ward, and we have him on. Mane leaves Bayern in a spin. Sadio Mane is absolutely sensational. No time to think about it. I will just do a little shimmy around Manuel Neuer and then clip it into the far post.
He's absolutely unbelievable, isn't he?
Give him a couple of minutes to think about it and he's like, too many options. But that was sensational.
He's flying. That's always the situation that I thought was going to be the case with Liverpool, was that if Mo Salah ever ran into a bad bit of form, well, they've got other attackers that are pretty bloody good at football. Now, I'm not sure does anybody foresee the heights that Sadio Mane will actually reach post-Christmas, because he's doing it this year on a level that we haven't seen from him before in his career, and he keeps getting better. Liverpool, we talked about this quite a bit already this season, that it's like, do you pick the Champions League or do you pick the Premier League? And everybody's like, well, you've got to pick the Premier League. And as the year has kind of raged on a little bit, it seems that Manchester City are kind of more capable of actually lasting the course of the Premier League. And it kind of comes back to the same situation that we were in last year, that, you know, Liverpool on a one-off day against Manchester City or against one of the best teams in Europe are more than capable of taking them down. The Champions League just suits them better, and I don't think that's changed too much this year. It's no disrespect to Liverpool. They have got better this season, and they have got closer to winning a Premier League title. That's pretty obvious. But I still think that they're far better suited to actually winning the Champions League. They would love to get Manchester City again in the quarterfinals this year and play them again in the next round.
I think the point that Jurgen Klopp was making in his post-match press conference is really interesting. He's talking about them being back. Scoring 3 goals here is massive and a big step up for us. A big step. We'll see what we can do with it, but it is a fantastic sign. We set a mark for Liverpool tonight that we are back on the international landscape as a football club. I'm really happy about the result and the fact that we are through. I knew we had a chance, but I didn't expect it would happen. But the boys made it happen and it was really brilliant. I think this is the whole point. That, like, when they have flashed before, when they came from nowhere under Rafa Benitez to win the European Cup, that team was already breaking down in various different ways. When they reached the final last year, it was like it was either another flame up from nothing because Mo Salah was sensational, and was he going to be able to sustain it? But actually, they were buying right around him and they were bringing players slowly into the team and everybody was improving. And if you think back to the season that they had under Brendan Rodgers, it was completely based on the fact that they had an attacking trio, one of whom was about to leave in a massive transfer in Luis Suarez, who was practically unmarkable at that point, but it wasn't sustainable. Now it feels sustainable. Now it feels like they have everything in place for this to be something that Liverpool every season will be a threat in the Champions League, no matter what group they're drawn in, no matter who they reach in, they're up against in the knockout stages. And that's like all you want from a team. You can't guarantee winning a league. You can't guarantee winning a European Cup, but you have to be giving yourself a chance to do it. And if they stick with this, they will win a European Cup and they will win a league, because it's just going to happen.
Yeah, definitely. The thing is, like, you look at the possibility of them saying winning the Champions League. If Liverpool win the Champions League, let's just forget about the Premier League for a moment. Like, where do they rank in terms of great British sides this century? Or like, if you even widen the net a bit further, like, I don't know, just like looking them up against Bayern Munich last night, they kind of remind me of when Bayern were at their most recent peak. So under Pep, when they beat Dortmund in that Champions League final, for example. I don't know, there's echoes of that Bayern team in this current Liverpool crop, because when you think of all the great European teams over the past 10 years, post Alex Ferguson and that Manchester United team, you think of Ronaldo's Madrid and you think of Messi's Barcelona. Outside of that, you look at Bayern Munich. Who was the superstar there? Well, they had a collection of superstars, and I think there's something similar. I don't want to say that they play football the same way, but there's something similar, and I kind of feel the same way when I look at this Liverpool side.
I think the other thing to note is that everybody's saying, oh, they've changed their style this year, they won't be able to go to Munich and do what they would have been able to do last year with the quick counter-attacking and the high press, and it's like, all they've done is develop. So now if they need to do one thing, they'll do it, and they're smart enough and they're experienced enough now to be able to do whatever the game plan requires of them, as opposed to we're only playing the way we're playing in the Premier League when we play the mediocre teams. They can be a high press counter-attacking side if they need to be. That's like the genius of a manager who's like, actually, you win football games in a myriad of different ways with different parts, different constituent parts playing different ways. The Sadio Mane going around Manuel Neuer is on the front of the Examiner this morning. There's also a picture of Michael O'Leary kissing, I presume it's Tiger Roll. It is, yeah. Remarkable little tiger has melted Michael O'Leary's heart. The notoriously hard-nosed businessman Michael O'Leary has retired Tiger Roll after an incredible victory yesterday. A 4-time festival winner and a Grand National winner and a massive comeback. Tiger Roll was 25-1 in Navan 5 weeks ago and pissed home. What was wrong with us?
Yeah, maybe the idea that Tiger Roll just doesn't care about races such as Navan, or the connections don't really care about putting Tiger Roll into that position. It was just about getting the horse on the ground ahead of Cheltenham. And turns out it's just a born winner of a horse. A bit of can you call Tiger Roll an ATM horse? A lot of people around here certainly made a lot of money on Tiger Roll down through the years.
Yeah, I didn't back it yesterday, stupidly. Anyway, there's an interesting piece from Jack Pitt-Brooke, which is obviously carried from the London Independent. The headline, if you can read it there, is Southgate jumps to defence of Rice after England decision. So Gareth Southgate names Declan Rice in the squad. Declan Rice tweets how happy he is. So it's on the back page as well of the London Independent at St George's Park. Now, is Kev Kilban mentioned in the piece? He is, yeah. So the piece is lifted unedited from the Independent News Service. Gareth Southgate has hit back at the easy criticism Declan Rice has faced. The decision to switch led to Rice facing some fierce criticism, especially from former Ireland internationals such as Kevin Kilban. Yesterday on the show, we brought you Kevin Kilban versus Nathan Murphy. Today, we're bringing you Kevin Kilban versus Gareth Southgate. Who's it going to be tomorrow? Donald Trump, Barack Obama?
The beef is real.
The beef is real. Here we go. I saw a really good article that Eoin wrote on dual nationality as well. For me, it was easy. I could only play for England. So there was no question in my mind. For lots of people that commented on Rice, that was the same. There were others who have commented despite the fact that they didn't play for the country of their birth. So they have benefited from some of the rules that are there. I mean, you know, England went out and kind of raped and pillaged their way around the world, and so therefore built an empire on the backs of the slaves that they took through centuries. And as a result, the people who went to live in England might have some fairly deep-seated roots with the countries that were colonised. This is kind of one of the natural byproducts of going out and stealing the wealth of other countries, is that their people come to, you know, try and get some benefit from being colonised. That's why loads of Irish people, after you starved us out, ended up going to live in England. And you're going to have to get used to that. And some of those people will want to play for Ireland because they're Irish. That's how that works.
Is it?
Yeah. Yeah, Kevin Kilban is entirely entitled to play for Ireland and to consider himself Irish, which is kind of the point that Gareth Southgate's missing here, that he benefited from the rules. Did he?
It does.
I mean, he didn't benefit from the rules.
Like, it kind of suggests to me, when you kind of bring up rules, that there was some sort of deliberate act on the part of a player like Kevin Kilban to actually go and make himself Irish, if that makes any sense. As in, he took it upon himself to declare for Ireland because he wasn't going to be involved with England. When you kind of bring up rules, that's kind of what it suggests to me, when clearly it couldn't be further from the case.
So I don't think anybody in England knows that, because they don't know any of their history. They're not taught their history. They're taught that, like, oh, all these countries asked us to come over. You know, there was a strongbow everywhere who brought us over and said, here, take all our treasures and money and minerals and herbs and spices. Spices, not herbs. And you can have our oil, whatever. You can have whatever you want. Just take it. It's great. And we're going to take your footballers if they're any good. That's the trade-off here. We'll get all your stuff, and then if any of your footballers are any good, we'll pick them off at the last minute too. That's a good deal for the colonised, isn't it?
Potatoes for players. That's the name of the official name of the scheme.
Pretty much, yeah. You're going to get in trouble for that. The Racing Post today, staying powers. Young Prince Paisley Park set for a thrilling race against the machine Faugheen in a classic stairs hurdle confrontation. It's too soon to be making jokes about the famine. That's the legends deliver. Heaven for punters after hugely popular victories for Altior and Tiger Roll. An Altior Tiger Roll double yesterday would have paid decent. 2.5, 3 to 1, would it? I'm making that up.
Don't tell me that, because I had a treble with the two of them and Delta Work, who let me down.
You're just getting greedy there with the treble.
Yeah, but it was only about 6 to 1.
Okay, well then maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it would have just ended up about evens. But a rapid response, Gunners won't waste any time in bid turnaround tie. It's like, yeah. I mean, those match previews where they're trying to tell you to bet on an early goal. It's like, come on. And then, the Telegraph this morning. Clubs men make it a full English. Liverpool stunned Germans as 4 Premier League teams reached Champions League last 8 for the first time in a decade. I mean, it's slightly... Manu Tuilagi is turning his back on a £2.5 million move to France. What the hell is wrong with him?
Is having been woken up to the idea that, you know, there's another little model here across the Irish Channel that might be working, across the Irish Sea that might be working.
He's going to stay with Leicester for 500 grand a season. And an extra 25 grand for England appearance. Getting bad advice there, Manu.
Back page of the Irish Daily Mail this morning is a Fab Four. Mighty Van Dijk puts Liverpool through, and Carney and Burns at the start against Wales is the team news for the Six Nations game this Saturday. The back page of the Sun then is a Fantastic Four, full house for Prem and 9 Germans, says the back page of the Sun. And EI Sadio, I've won it for the cop, says the back page of the Mirror. And Mickey Hart says, we've never faced a team like this. He's talking about Dublin ahead of their clash in Croke Park this Saturday evening. The back page of the Irish Daily Star then is by Dream Believers. Mane Salvo leads Reds to victory, and Elliott's on a roll at the last. It's Tiger Roll dominating the Cheltenham headlines. And it's Sadio Mane there celebrating on the back page of The Guardian this morning. Magic Mane, strikers double sees Liverpool cruise past Bayern into the last 8.
All right. Let's head over to Cheltenham and join Johnny Ward for the first time today. Johnny, how you doing? Oh, we're getting to him in 1 second now.
The tension is killing me.
Yeah. I don't know if he was up or down after yesterday.
Neither do I. Like Monday was obviously tough, or Tuesday was a tough day for everybody. I think yesterday, everybody was a winner yesterday in some respects. If you're a tipster, you probably would have tipped the winner at some point yesterday. Or we'll get to our tipster table in a little while, but or a tipster kind of rundown. But I'm not including anybody who tipped Altio yesterday, for example.
As a winner?
Yeah.
I mean, you have to, though.
I would have tipped, if I was a tipster,
well, I
would have tipped Altio.
He had, and also nearly, I don't know, was not as impressive as a horse that heavy odds on should be. Like, made a mistake early in the race and then was challenged all the way to the line. Only wins by a length or 2 lengths in the end, or length and a half.